Hey, what's going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and this is a piece of hardware that I've heard of quite a bit for a while. Fun fact, actually purchased one of these several years ago, but never ended up using it, so I think I either gave it to a friend or I got rid of it at one point. But either way, right here we have a PS2 to HDMI adapter, and in the past few months, with kind of the influx of PlayStation 2 type stuff, I figured I would try and give this another shot, although I feel like I mostly know what it is. But a lot of people have been asking, to check out the PS2 to HDMI adapter, so is there some type of secret sauce to it? Is it really just component outputs through HDMI and nothing else? Let's take a look on here. Anyways, I'll link it down below in the description, but from what I've seen, they're really all clones. They're all the same thing. It's just this little dongle, and it goes from, the PS2 multi-AV out to HDMI, of course. If it matters at all, this is a Model G300 game to HDMI converter, but PS2 to HDMI converter. I don't know what the deal is with that. Right here, it's made in China. Nothing really surprising about that. If I can focus it on there, that'd be amazing. With features, it says video and audio in full HDMI format, no transmission loss, works with HDTV or HDMI monitor, hassle-free, plug and play as you go, supports all PS2 display modes, and no power adapter, no messy cords, just one HDMI cable. If that's true, that will be interesting. The old one I used to see, you needed to power it somehow with micro USB or mini USB. As for the dimensions, as you can see, they are right there. I'm not going to read them off because that's all the boring stuff. So, you want to check that out, you can. And connection diagram. There's our diagram. Cool. I like how they also have the PlayStation Network logo right there, which is not used at all on the PlayStation 2. And the company probably didn't have the permission to use the logo either, but we'll just keep that between us. Either way, though, right here, PS2 to HDMI converter. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. On a PS2, nonetheless. I figured that'd be a nice little touch. So let's go ahead and open this. Alright, they did lie. They lied. Just no power adapter, no messy cords, just one HDMI cable. That's not true, because, let's see here, look at that, you do need a mini USB cable, which means that this is not a one cable solution, this is a two cable solution. Alright, so there's a PS2 to HDMI, feels like a solid piece of tech, I guess. Pretty small dongle as well. And then here we go, we have a 3.5mm jack and HDMI. I'm just going to be using HDMI for this demonstration. And let me open this thing up. This is our mini USB adapter, or USB cable. Just pulling this one out because I don't feel like pulling out any other ones that I have. And it is quite short as well, too. I don't think it's even 3 feet. That would be kind of impressive if it was. But really all we need to do on this is you hook this end up. You hook this to some type of USB power source, whether that be a keyboard or the PlayStation 2 itself. We'll actually try the PS2 itself, then hook this thing up to the PS2, and let's try this out and see if it's any well worth it. Oh, just so this is complete as well, too, it comes with this little tiny table of contents, which is actually kind of cute. We have that demonstration right there, where we have the PS2 to the converter to the HDTV, and you could use your headphones to connect directly into this. That'd be kind of difficult going directly to the console, but I guess if you really want to, you can be determined to do that. It is a 5-volt input that it needs, and it does use the, as you can see, the component input right there. So it's just the component signal. It's not the RGB one for anybody who's wondering. All right. Let's check this out. Alright, so for the actual hookup itself, as I said, I just took the mini USB cable, hooked it up right here. Let's try and see if we can get that from the PS2 itself. If not, we have, multiple other power sources that we can use. And on the back end right here, all we have to do, if y'all can see that, hopefully, just take this, plug it in like so. It's a little bit forceful, but it doesn't move around a whole ton, which is nice. And I can wiggle it there, but I was expecting it would just pop out or something. No, you kind of have to use some force to unplug it. as you can see, there we go. Took a little bit more than needed, but whatever. And then we have the HDMI cable, which I'll just hook up into this end right here. So for anybody who has their PS2 hook up to like a back panel of some kind, just be cautious of that. You are going to have to give, you know, a bit more room, like that much room or so. Then we'll just power this thing on. I'll just need to hook it up to power, of course, and we can try it out on my monitor right here. Alright, so I have everything all hooked up here. Let's go ahead and turn on the PS2. Got the red light. Turn this on. Oh, my monitor does have a signal of some kind going to it. And there we go. It looks like we do have a signal, so I'll kind of focus more on the monitor right here. And there we go. I'll go ahead and turn up the volume as well, so we can kind of hear the background, if possible. Alright, there is no volume going to this. Oh, there we go. Alright, I can hear it now. So I think we're good on that. Let me check the, not the configuration, but the system configuration. That's what I wanted to do. Alright, so it is just at the beginning of October, so when I'm recording this, you know, I could do this in either way. I'll just kind of do it full right there. Let me also focus this in so you all can see properly. There we go. Alright, and of course we're using component. If we try RGB, it bugs out. It bugs out. Nothing. Just as I predicted. Alright, so again, you are going to need to use the component signal on this thing right here. And it looks like we got it. Just kind of had to press circle and just move around a few times. But there we go. One thing I also want to see, I'm actually going to open up my, my OBS real quick on my computer to see if I can capture this. I doubt I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to give you all a quick feed of this. Whoa, and I'm looking here, and it does look like this actually captures on OBS, which is pretty cool. Let me also open up the Elgato itself, too. The reason why I'm kind of impressed with that is because OBS can't normally handle these things properly. Or not OBS, but just Game Capture itself. So I'm using a Elgato Game Capture HD60 for anybody who is wondering here. Let's see if anything comes up on this. I want to see... Oh, okay, it is pulling a 480i60, so it is able to handle that properly on there. So if you want to capture any gameplay, you should be able to with this, which works out pretty nicely. I'll also go ahead and change this to standard. So I'm kind of just bringing this up, and I'll show you all on the screen as well, too, what we're looking at. So just kind of versus this is expanded HDMI. As you can see, it's kind of dreary. This is just regular. And some people might say this actually looks better. I guess it kind of does, because expanded is looking for a few more colors and just a few more things on the color palette. But really, I doubt that the PS2 is going to have that, especially through its components. So I'll just change that to standard HDMI color range, and that will be more than well suited for what we need it for. Alright, fantastic. So I'm kind of just going to keep that up on the other screen right there. I'm not going to do any really direct captures here, but I do want to get these specifications for what I would be recording based off of this. Let me kind of move that away. So as you can see, this is really zoomed in here, and that is on purpose. I actually zoomed in with my monitor, but, well, not my monitor, but my, my camera here. If you can see, there's kind of, it almost looks like just some kind of up and down lines all throughout here. Not sure how accurately I can get that on camera. Hopefully you all can like at least see some noise on that as well too. That's really not a trick of the camera. That's kind of coming just directly from the PS2 as well. And I've noticed that with PS2 itself. The PlayStation 2 unfortunately does not have that good of video output. I'm not talking about the resolution. I'm not talking about the graphics. I'm talking about the actual video quality that comes out of the PlayStation 2. It's just not really that good. So if you hook that up and you kind of see some interference or your image just doesn't look right, unfortunately this is kind of the best you're going to pull out of the PS2. But let's try and play some games on here as well and see what we can do with that. Alright, so for this, I have to try this out. I have to play my all-time favorite game on here, Grand Theft Auto 3. Absolutely love this game. But what I'm doing is, this is just loaded off a SATA hard drive, and I'm using FreeMcBoot, of course, and Open PlayStation 2 Loader or OPL to load this all up. So, oh, cool. Okay, actually, that's interesting. I didn't really know you could pause the game that early on. Like, literally in the first cutscene, you can pause it. Alright, that might be obvious to some people. To me, I don't think I ever tried it until now, which is kind of funny. Yeah, no, so far, honestly, I'm kind of just gauging the, let me turn off the radio here. Kind of just gauging the video quality and all that. Of course, it is a 480i signal coupled with the fact that, you know, this is the PlayStation 2 older system and stuff. So kind of just trying this off right here, rattling off the first impressions I have off the top of my head. This is probably the best that we will get, you know, without doing any other tricks or modifications like to force 480p or something. This is just the 480i signal that is coming straight from the PS2. So again, if you hook this up and you're kind of disappointed by the way it looks, this is kind of the limitation of what we have right here, unfortunately. Yeah, it does look a little bit blurry and stuff. I'm not really trying to justify that by any means necessary. But this is just, you know, what the system can pull out from here. I will say that this is a extremely convenient way of hooking this up to a modern screen. So if you're looking at a cost-effective solution, I would say so far that this really meets my expectations when it comes to the video output quality compared to straight-up component cables. By that I mean, if you want to just use component cables, you're really going to get the same thing. But if you want to spend, you know, which component cables would be $4, $5, $6. If you want to spend the $15 to $20 on this right here, because this contraption costed me about 16 bucks, I want to say, it's not a bad solution, like especially if you don't have components available on your screen. Alright, so there we go, first mission complete on that. I kind of just, you know what, maybe I just use this as a good excuse to play Grand Theft Auto 3. That could have been a good excuse on here. Let me go ahead and save our game. And then we can try something else. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to try out a game that has progressive scan built into it. So what I'll just do is we'll load up something else. Alright, so for the last game I'm trying out on the PS2 here, I'm trying out Black. Specifically this game because, I'll be honest, I have not played it, but it is 480p, and I have extracted the 480p option from it. I'm running it in 480p. My Elgato can confirm it as well. It had to be forced into it, but you can run it. And again, kind of wanted to highlight this. Even in 480p, it does look nicer, but you still see that noise right there on the screen. You're still going to see that noise, unfortunately. So I know some people might be annoyed over the fact that I keep stressing that and I keep showing you all and keep pointing it out. But again, that's going to be a thing where I myself, when I first tried to get HD resolutions and, you know, progressive scan out of my PS2, I was pretty disappointed when I found out I just could not get rid of that. That's going to stay there, unfortunately. Alright, so just a forewarning, I have never played this game. Again, I picked it because it has 480p resolution. And on top of that, I've been told that it's supposed to be one of the more impressive PS2 games. So I wanted to give this a shot. And so far, I will say, for a PlayStation 2 game, it looks great. Controls, maybe not the best on here. But again, I'm impressed enough with it so far. And as for the actual resolution, too, I'm more paying attention to how it looks. When you're really, like, going hard in-game, like, you see all this stuff just moving around right here, there's all these enemies and stuff, you're really not going to notice that noise difference, I would say. Although, when it comes to something where if you're trying to shoot and talk at the same time, but, if it comes to something where you're actually, like, let's say I'm just kind of, like, sitting here still or whatever, then if I start looking at the screen, yes, I'm going to notice that, you know, the image is kind of flickering a little bit. Might not be the best on there. And that's kind of, you know, again, the limitations of the video output on there. But as for this, though, it does look good, I'll say that. Although, I will say, this would mostly be, if you could choose between getting component cables or getting the PS2 to HDMI, nothing over there. But if you can choose between the PS2 to HDMI, or if you can choose between component cables, if it's possible for you to use component cables easily, probably go with that. If you're wanting to use the PS2 to HDMI, and you understand the limitations of the system, like of the device that it has, from what I see, it's not a bad pickup. Like, if I'm using my PS2 to exclusively play PS2 games, and I don't want to dig out my FrameMeister every single time, and I want to play, like, on my monitor here if I'm playing something, this works out pretty well, I'll say that. So, this one I actually will be keeping. I will say that I didn't, I guess I didn't give it the full respect it deserved the first time around, mostly because a lot of people I felt like were really overhyping it. It's really, in short, just a easy way to get a component signal to whatever you're going to be using. So I think it works out well enough so far. I'm probably going to do, you know, an actual more in-depth review of the device at one point if I feel like it needs it, and as I use it more, but this is just more, you know, my initial first impressions off here. It's been around for long enough where I don't think any, you know, big major issues have come up about it where people have said, hey, don't get this because it's going to fry your PS2 or set it on fire or whatever. But just, you know, really keep in mind, you won't be able to play PS1 games on this, unfortunately. Just limit it to only PS2 games. It is going to be about 3 or 4 times the price of some component cables for your PS2. You're not going to do RGB, it's only component, which component does the exact same thing. But as long as you keep that in mind, honestly, it's not a bad pickup, I'll say. So I kind of got this for morbid curiosity. If anybody's saying, hey, that was a waste of money, you're probably absolutely right on that. I wanted to do this so I could actually give it a shot, try it out, have a bit more of a convenient hookup here, and also give you guys a video as well, too, so I can give you all my actual impressions, because I had some impressions on this, but I never actually used it until now. But one more thing, you know, I'm going to go ahead, pause the game here. That is fun. I actually do want to play more of Black. But we're going to try out one more thing, because I feel like if I don't do this, I'm going to get a bunch of questions about it. And then we're going to wrap up the video. Hey look, my PS2 grew. No, actually for our final PS2 test here, I wanted to try out PlayStation games. Now, for somebody who might know the obvious answer to this, just hold your peace for a little bit. I wanted to try this just so we see it on camera. And interesting thing as well too, if you all can see, I'm just showing you all on a completely different PS2. I'll zoom in here. So this PS2 does kind of the same thing where there's just background noise all over it. Just if you can see kind of on the black screen here. It's a bit hard to tell, but it's kind of just a noisy, grainy image, and there was kind of lines all over the place. It cleans up a little bit. But I'll say again, you know, I've tried it with 2 PS2 systems. That is indeed just the way that the PS2 outputs video, unfortunately. It doesn't give you a clean image, so to speak. But giving this a shot right here, the reason why I pulled out this other PS2 was just because I wanted to try and eliminate any issues with my other one. You see, my other PS2, I have a mod chip installed in it, as well as FreeMcBoot. This PS2, I'll even reboot it just to show you. It is a completely stock PlayStation 2. Of course, if I pop in a FreeMcBoot memory card, then I'll get FreeMcBoot on it, but I don't have a memory card, I don't have a hard drive hooked up to it, I don't have a mod chip in it. It is 100% stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take any PS1 game. I got my copy of Xenogears right here. Pop this in, and I'll show you what happens. I can hit X, and I kind of have it angled this way so you can see what's happening over on this side as well, too. Just kind of pay attention right there. So it loads up the PlayStation disc, all looks good. Let's press X. Wait a few seconds. Maybe. There we go. PlayStation logo pops up. So everything looks great. You might have read online, if you were looking into this device, that it does not play PlayStation games. Well, unfortunately, I have to report that that is correct. This does not play PlayStation games. And as you can see right here, it has no signal. My monitor has now cut off completely. It's now giving me the orange light instead of the blue status light. And the reason why I said pay attention up here is because this is now blue, and it says there is no signal coming from the PS2. I've tried multiple PS2s. I've tried multiple PlayStation games. Unfortunately, I cannot get PlayStation games to display on this system, and that is because of the PS2 to HDMI. So if you have a dream where you would like to play PS1 games on your PS2 directly through HDMI, this device will not accomplish that. This device, unfortunately, will only let you play PS2 games. Sorry to report on that. Now, I myself kind of wanted to prove this wrong, because it would have been nice to have this set up and just play PS1 games off it, but unfortunately, that's not the case. We're not able to, so I'll just pop out this PS1 game, and just let it be known for anybody who's interested in purchasing this, you will not be able to display any PS1 games on this device. PS1 to HDMI, will it work? To be honest, I have my doubts, based on the fact that this thing is just barely going in there. Like, I was trying to just get it connected in fully, but you can't. That's the farthest I can get it in. But we're going to give it a shot. Will it work? Probably not, but let's try it on camera. Alright, so we got the PS1 on deck here. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. See what happens. See what happens. Any activity? Any activity? Nope. Alright. So for anybody who's wanting to try a PS1 on their PS2 to HDMI, it is not going to work. But that will be, I will say that is one nice benefit of using component cables on the PS2. If you have a compatible TV, you can play PlayStation 1 games on your PlayStation 2 through component cables, but you cannot do with the PS2 to HDMI, unfortunately. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would very much be appreciated. You know, the like. If you absolutely hated it, a dislike is fine as well, too. Anyways, if you have this as well, let me know what you think of it. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you are thinking of picking it up, if you've kind of eyed it before. I always kind of doubted it, but I will say, it is a nice little solution if you're strictly using it as a convenience tool for playing PS2 games. It's not bad.